Okay, so this is a quick video to talk through the Miro board which I've created to sort of present the information on the Knime workflow. So I'm just going to talk you through it and yeah, just to give you a quick introduction if you need it. So if you've not used Miro before, the board should be locked, so really you're just going to navigate around to navigate in and out. If you've got a roller on your mouse, you can use that to zoom in and out. You can use or you can use this plus button here to zoom in and out, and you can just drag to move around the board. Okay, so what I'm going to talk through is, so we've got this start here. This explains, just give you an overall view of how the Knime report works. Then down here we've got 5 different workflows or explanations that go through the different things that are going on in that Knime report, and including what the the final output does. There's also let's bring it up here. Oh, now we've gone really big. Down here we've also, this is the original sort of screenshots of the Knime report, so you can look at that as well if you want to see exactly what's going on in it. Okay, and then over here this key just explains the different colours, what the different colour post-its mean in these reports. Okay, so just to go through this high-level summary. So the data items that are being used to find matches in the Knime report, the only items being used are date of birth, first name, last name, but really it's truncations of these two, so we're just using the first 5 characters of each. And then external ID, so and the only 3 IDs are Saturn UK, UCAS ID and Campus Application ID. So these are the only things that are being used. I thought a lot more, I thought things like phone numbers and email are being used, but that's not the case. It's just these that are being used. So the only records that are, in terms of, or tables in Campus that are being used to find these matches are person, names and external system, and that's it. Everything else, and there are a lot of other tables, it's all about either finding matches for pairs, Emplid IDs that have already been matched, so we've got these 2 IDs matched on date of birth, etc., but do they also match on phone number or title? And then all the other information we're using is a contextual date. It's just being used to provide extra information which you could or choose to or not use to validate these matches. Okay, so that's all the information that's in there. So matches are being identified through 2 separate streams, and those are eventually combined together. So the first stream is using the external ID, those 3 there. So matches are found, so which IDs have the same UCAS ID or applicant ID or whatever, and then some validations going on using date of birth, first name and last name to check that those are genuine matches, they haven't been made in error. And then the second stream is where we've got date of birth, first name, last name combo, which is said 5 character truncations of the first and last name, and finding matches based on those 3. Okay, so they do cross-reference each other. These 2 streams cross-reference each other at different points in their workflows to avoid duplication, to make sure they're not coming up in both. And they both produce 2 outputs. So we have a list. They both produced a single list of unique Emplid IDs in a Dual Emplid, and those are used to add contextual information. And then we've got pairs, actual matched pairs of Emplid IDs. Which are the basis for the final report, and then this contextual data is added to each Emplid ID in a pair in that final report. So that's kind of how it works. A bit of terminology. Report 1 to 3, which is referred to in the Knime report, and I've probably referred to it in these different sort of information below. That's the workflows being used to identify matches using external ID, and report 4 matches using date of birth, first name and last name. So if you see those, that's kind of why. So this is a basic run through of the process. So we've got the check on external. Can I update it? Okay, so let's unlock it. So I shouldn't use the video to make time. external pool, that's where it goes. Right, okay. So that's the external ID check, and then we've got the date of birth and name check. Both at different points we're adding in student program and application data, which just says, has this ID got a stack, has it got an active stack, has it got a UK stack, has it got an application for the latest term, etc. Then both of them are identifying matches, and then we're getting this cross-reference between these matches to make sure that IDs are not in both. For the stream which is matching on date of birth, first name and last name, we're adding more data in, so things like phone and title, and then we're checking to see are there matches on phone and title for these pairs of Emplid IDs that we've identified. And then through a bit of deduping, we end up with, from both of them, a list of unique IDs and a list of paired Emplid IDs. These lists from both, so the list of unique IDs, single column unique Emplids from both are combined, and then the pairs of Emplids are combined to give us one list of each. The list of individual unique one column Emplids is used to get the contextual information. The combined list of pairs of Emplids are used to build the final report, and then as part of that final report we add in that contextual information to each of the Emplids. Oh yeah, and at some point in that final report the prioritization, the 1A, 1B, etc. has happened, and then the final report is made, and that's basically what's going on, but with a lot of steps. So if we come out of that, so we've got these different workflows here that or process maps here. So we've got the first one looks at the process using external IDs to get unique list of Emplids. The second one looks at external IDs to get pairs of Emplids, and then date of birth, name to get unique and to get paired. And in these I've tried to put in what the data looks like at that stage, the fields that are being used, to kind of give you filters being applied, etc. So you can kind of see a bit better what's going on and explaining some of the logic that's being used. So hopefully this explanation and running through these, you're going to get a full understanding of how this Knime report works. And if you want to have a look at it in its entirety, you can do that, and of course you can install Knime yourself and do it and import the workflow. And then when I was going through it, and so what I did first, well, I'll show you what I did first. I basically went through every single step, every single node in that Knime report, put it in a table, put what the type was, what the name of the node, what records it was using, and basically just in layman's terms what was happening, and then example screenshots of that. So I'll give you a link to this as well, and it runs through, so report 4, which is the date of birth, name matching for the unique, and then for where we're pairing, getting pairs of Emplids using that, then matching on the external ID for unique and for pairs, the final output, the final report, what's going on in that, and then there's a whole load on getting the contextual data together and what that contextual information is. So it might be easy to run through it in the in the Miro report, but this gives you all the detail of exactly what's happening at each stage if you need it. And there's also a summary here of basically the 5 main things that you've seen in that Miro report, talking about what the aims of each sort of flow or subflow are, the data being used, the main steps taken, and the kind of output. There's a bit of the SQL which was used at the start of the external ID to pull out that data. I'm not an expert on SQL, I'm not that bothered about learning more about it, so that if you need that, that's there. And this is the prioritization logic that's used to work out which prioritization it is. Okay, so I will send you over both of these, links to both, and have a look through, and then I'll put a meeting in next week or this week, depending when you're looking at this, and yeah, we'll take this forward and work out how to improve this and what's the best way to build it.